The definitive edition of Dawn of War is first and foremost a unification. It bundles together the base game and all of its expansions, Winter Assault, Dark Crusade, and Soulstorm, into one seamless package. This alone makes it a remarkable offering, since each expansion introduced new factions, campaigns, and mechanics. What was once a fragmented library of content spread across multiple boxed releases has been condensed into a single clean entry point. 9 factions are represented, each with its own aesthetic, units, and style of play. From the indomitable Space Marines to the relentless Orcs, from the zealous Sisters of Battle to the enigmatic Eldar, every aspect of the Warhammer 40,000 battlefield is here complete and intact. For the player, this means never having to toggle between versions or patchwork installations. It means stepping into a fully realized battlefield with everything ready to go from the moment the game launches. Visually, the definitive edition walks a careful line. It doesn't attempt to reinvent Dawn of War as something it was never meant to be, nor does it strip away the original art direction that defined its tone. Instead, it enhances the existing foundation. Units now sport sharper textures, shadows are cleaner, metallic surfaces gleam properly, and the lighting has been reworked to give the battlefield a greater sense of depth. Environments feel more alive, not because they are rebuilt from scratch, but because the old visuals are polished into something more timeless. Critics have noted that this isn't the sweeping, ground-up remaster that some fans may have dreamed of, and the graphical leap is indeed modest when compared to modern RTS standards. Yet the improvements matter, because they preserve the identity of Dawn of War while making it comfortable to play on modern displays. On a 1440p or 4K monitor, the experience is no longer cramped or blurry, but instead feels like a proper RTS with room to breathe. One of the most celebrated improvements lies in the camera system. The original Dawn of War was notoriously restrictive, locking players into a zoom level that made large-scale battles feel cramped. The definitive edition expands the camera dramatically, letting players zoom far out to command an entire battlefield at once, or dive in to watch squads clash in the mud and fire. This seemingly simple adjustment transforms the experience, making it easier to manage armies, track flanking maneuvers, and appreciate the chaos of battle. For veterans, it feels like finally playing Dawn of War as it was always meant to be played, no longer wrestling with an artificial limitation that hampered situational awareness. For newcomers, it brings the game in line with modern RTS design, where camera freedom is expected. Beyond visuals and camera work, quality of life upgrades extend across the board. The game now runs in 64-bit, ensuring stability on modern systems. The user interface has been updated for scaling, making it more comfortable across a variety of resolutions. Some pathfinding quirks have been improved, though not entirely eradicated, and while unit AI still occasionally stumbles, it is more reliable than the original. A new mod manager is integrated directly into the game, recognizing the crucial role that the modding community has played over the past 2 decades. Iconic community projects like Unification, Crucible, and Ultimate Apocalypse are either already compatible or in the process of being updated, which means the definitive edition is not merely preserving history, but also ensuring that the endless creativity of fans continues into the future. Of course, no remaster or definitive edition is flawless, and Dawn of War is no exception. Some reviewers have pointed out missing features, such as the inability to freely rebind keys, which feels like an odd oversight in an era where customizable controls are standard. Multi-monitor setups can sometimes produce mouse scrolling bugs when alt-tabbing, a frustration for those with complex PC rigs. And while performance is generally stable, even powerful machines may encounter occasional dips when the screen is full of units. These issues are not catastrophic, but they can be jarring, especially for players expecting a fully modernized experience. Yet these flaws coexist with an undeniable stability compared to the old versions, which were prone to crashes when multitasking or running on newer operating systems. In 2025, stability alone is a gift, and while some of these quirks need patching, they do not overshadow the fundamental joy of the game. The heart of Dawn of War, of course, is its gameplay loop, and here the definitive edition wisely refuses to tamper with perfection. Building a stronghold, deploying squads, upgrading them with weapons, capturing resource points, and reinforcing territory remains as satisfying as ever. The pacing is brisk. Fights break out quickly, but the tactical depth lingers beneath the surface. Squad morale, cover mechanics, and the ability to upgrade units on the fly ensure that battles aren't simply won by numbers. Instead, positioning, timing, and squad composition matter. Watching Assault Marines rocket into enemy lines with their jetpacks, or a Dreadnought stomp through defenders while bolter fire echoes across the battlefield, is just as thrilling now as it was 2 decades ago. Each campaign mission feels like a microcosm of Warhammer storytelling, desperate last stands, brutal ambushes, and the constant reminder that war is both endless and glorious in the grim darkness of the far future. Campaigns themselves are preserved in full, with the narratives of Gabriel Angelos and the Blood Ravens retaining their charm. The cutscenes may look dated compared to modern cinematics, but their spirit remains intact, mixing campy dialogue with genuine gravitas. The tonal balance between grimdark oppression and pulpy sci-fi melodrama is a reminder of Warhammer's transitional era, where the franchise was shifting from tongue-in-cheek absurdity toward the full grimdark ethos it embodies today. In 2025, this mix feels refreshing, even nostalgic, especially compared to newer Warhammer games that lean exclusively into either parody or despair. Dawn of War's story remains an accessible gateway to the universe, its voice acting carrying the weight of loyalty, betrayal, and divine fury without irony. Multiplayer and skirmish modes expand the value further. Up to 8 players can clash in vast battles, with a staggering number of maps included. Network stability is improved, and early impressions suggest that cooperative play is smooth. Competitive play exists, though the community is still re-emerging, often clustering in private lobbies with friends. For most players, the joy lies in the sheer flexibility of setup, whether recreating classic 2 versus 2s, testing wild 4 versus 4 scenarios, or experimenting with modded factions once community tools are fully integrated. What makes this release particularly strong in 2025 is not just nostalgia, but relevance. RTS as a genre has struggled in recent years, with only a handful of major releases keeping the tradition alive. Dawn of War's return is not just a preservation effort, but a reminder of what made RTS compelling in the first place. Battles that feel both strategic and cinematic, resource management that drives aggression rather than tedium, and faction design that makes every skirmish feel different. For younger players unfamiliar with the golden era of RTS, the definitive edition is not a relic, but a living, breathing experience that stands tall alongside modern strategy games. And for veterans, it is a homecoming, an affirmation that the battles we fought 20 years ago still burn with intensity today. In the final analysis, Warhammer 40k Dawn of War Definitive Edition is a triumph. It is a time capsule and a fresh beginning, a game that embraces its past while ensuring its future. In 2025, it plays not as a relic of nostalgia, but as a vibrant and fully playable RTS, brimming with content, dripping with atmosphere, and still unmatched in its combination of spectacle and strategy. It stands as one of the greatest RTS titles ever created, and this edition is the best way to play it. Whether you are a die-hard veteran returning to the front lines, or a newcomer seeking your first taste of Warhammer's endless war, the definitive edition delivers.